Welcome Psychology 100 and 250 students. This is your Relate Paper guide, and I'm here to explain how to do the Relate Paper. Now, in my opinion, it's self-explanatory because I wrote all the instructions down in the syllabus. I've been doing this paper for a number of years, and to me it makes absolute sense. But to others who's reading the instructions, like any instructions, it can be very confusing. So I decided to do this video. The paper is actually harder in our heads than in reality. It's 5 pages long. One page will be devoted to a cover sheet. The other pages will be devoted to 4 different terms from 4 different chapters. That's it. There's no reference page. There's no bibliography. This is not a research paper. It's just merely choosing 4 terms that you can relate to. Now, there are some characteristics I'm looking for. Let's take the cover page. Please do not write sample on your paper. You're going to submit all of these through Canvas and they'll all be typed. They'll be double spaced. With the cover sheet, I'm not that strict on as far as the font size and the spacing, and you can decorate it if you so desire. For example, the student decorated with totoros, if you know what that is. So, what are the 4 elements I want on the cover page? Your name. This person's name is here, but they asked if I could cross it out so I could show it as an example, and that's fine. But you're not going to cross yours out. You're going to put my name, the date, and the class. Now, the date can be the date you do the paper or when it's due. It's up to you. But be sure that it's the correct date. Don't put 1920 or 2120. I've had that happen. Please don't put Professor Mendoza. Who dat? I don't know. There's plenty of Professor Mendozas, but that's not me, right? Please make sure that you have the right class. I've had sociology written here before. Please make sure you spell the correct name, your own name. I've had people misspell their own name, which is a little suspicious if you ask me. Okay, so if you choose, again, you can adorn and you can make your font size any size you want on the cover page, but make sure those 4 elements are correct because that's what I'll be looking for. Then we get to our paper itself. Now, this student happened to choose the term REM, rapid eye movement. If you notice at the very top, the student put not only the term and a short definition, 1 to 2 sentences, no more than that. This is not a research paper. Then put the chapter and page number it was on. This is absolutely important. Now, some of you are going to be using online versions, so you're going to put the chapter and section number if there's no page numbers. But if there's a page number, put the page number. They chose a term from chapter 3. They also chose the term chapter 6, and chapter 5, and chapter 4. My point is, their 4 terms are from 4 distinct chapters. Not only that, but they made sure that the length was proper. Right? It starts at the top, 1-inch margins, 12-point font, Times New Roman style. That's APA, American Psychological Association style. It doesn't quite go to a page or an inch to the bottom. It should be inches on both margins, at top and bottom. So what they did was they went to the next page and typed a little bit more, ensuring that their paper was the proper length. If it goes a little bit over, that's okay. If it goes a little bit under, that's not okay. So you lose points, and I don't want you to lose points. Another common thing that happens is typographical errors. Some people like to do text talk because they're used to doing that. Those are technical errors, and those you'll lose points at. Make sure you're careful of the use of the word that you're using. For example, listen to the following sentence. Let's go to the store to buy 2 Dos Equis. You can go to if you wear your tutu. Now, the word to in some form or fashion appeared 5 times in the sentence I just gave you, but each to is spelled differently. So I've had people use the wrong spelling in a sentence, and they got immediately 4 errors in the very first sentence of the Relate paper. I subtract 4 points. That's a maximum I subtract per term or per page. Each term covers 1 whole page, And if you can imagine, the paper is worth 40 points, right? If you subtract 4 points per page, not covering the cover page, that's 16 points. Already your paper has been reduced dramatically. The grade has been reduced dramatically. Another common error that occurs, somebody would do a wonderful paper, but they get excited about a particular chapter and they write 4 terms from the same chapter. I can only accept one term and all the other terms are null and void. So the paper potentially is only worth 10 points out of 40. I don't want that to happen to you. My advice to you is as soon as you start thinking about the paper, flip through your textbook and find 4 things that you know about. Not necessarily of interest to me, but things that you can write about. Not necessarily have happened to you, although it could. It could be a relative, a friend, somebody you met randomly at the bus stop, and how you relate to that concept, right? There's no ending. If I were to list all the terms that you could write about, I would run out of paper, right? This student happened to write about Parkinson's, right? Not the personal experience that the individual had with suffering from Parkinson's, but a relative. Here's something that a lot of you could write about, myself included, insomnia, right? So again, things that you feel comfortable writing about that have some meaning towards you. Now, don't wait till the last moment to turn this paper in. Remember, I don't accept any late papers, so you want to turn it in, if at all possible, early. I read them with a fine-tooth comb because I figured you took the time to write them and type them up. I should take the time to read them, and I'll give you some feedback, namely in a score. Most people do fairly well, at least on the online versions of these papers. And the typed in person type, not as well. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe because they're not using all the computer skills to check for spelling and typographical errors and factual errors or whatever. But I'm confident that you will do well on this paper. The thing is, you have to turn it in, right? So don't let the big P, not Pedrosa, but procrastination, nullify your good efforts. Hopefully this video has been of some interest to you, explained a few things, and of course, as usual, if you have any questions about the paper, you can always ask me in class or send me a note via campus or contact me during one of my office hours, and I'd be glad to explain it further. All right, thank you.